Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and today I have got a PVZ. So let me introduce the two players to you. In the lower left position, the Grand Master player. In the top 20 GM, the Red Protoss, it's State. And his opponent down in the lower right, the Blue Zerg player from Team Evil Geniuses, it's ZvP. So, these two, really good. I've cast some more of State's games, and he's really making an impression on me. He's got some solid play, he's taken down some great players, and that always makes... And it's not through cheesy stuff either, because anyone... Well, not anyone, but most people can get a bit lucky with, say, a build order win, or just a cheesy bit of play against someone like ZvP or Idra or the Muslim or whatever. But if you turn around and beat them in just a solid, straight-up game, just having better engagements, good defense, good scouting, then do you know what? You're actually a really good player, and I like that. And I think this is only good news for State, and I really hope that he gets some cool exposure, because he's been playing solidly recently and uploading a ton of really awesome replays. So, good on him. Now, what can we expect from these two players? Should be a pull into a hatch for ZvP, probably a 15 pull, 16 hatch. Meanwhile, for State, he's going to go for a Gateway Expand, which is... There's two ways of playing PVZ at the moment. There's the Gateway Expand, or obviously the Forge Fast Expansion, or Nexus First. But generally speaking, more and more players seem to be reverting back to the Fast Expansion kind of build, whereas some players really favouring getting this Gateway down relatively early on. It deals some really good damage and can potentially catch the Zerg player off guard. It also throws some Zergs off their timings because they're just so used to having to go for a quick third hatchery that once they don't have to, they can get a bit out of timing, they can overproduce Lings, and I'm not saying ZvP will do that, but certainly players in the lower leagues can get a little bit thrown off by something out of the norm, and that's something which maybe you as a Protoss player, as a viewer, could try to really experiment with. And by all means, let me know in the comment section below, what do you like opening as a Protoss against Zerg? Are you one of these Gateway Expansion players, or do you just stick to the tried and tested Forge Fast Expand? So let me know in the comments below what do you think. But for the moment, we've just got the Overlord coming in for ZvP. He's just going to take a nice little look, see is there any expansion, is there any pylon on the low ground, or are you going to be getting a gateway out? We've got 2 gas, 2 probes will probably go into each gas, I would imagine. After that, it's just about getting enough gas out for a mothership core, really. That's the main thing that he's going to be looking to do. The Overlord will see that there's no expansion on the way, no pylon on the low ground. We'll see the Zealot as well. That's concrete evidence that it is going to be that gateway start expansion. Of course, good news, the Cybercore is finished. The second Zealot, though, on its way. So this Overlord will be safe for the moment, and we'll also see that the Zealot's on its way out. But after that, it could very well be a Stalker, and a Stalker would have fun with an Overlord. Dancing the Zealot underneath. Oh yes, State. That's what you want to do. There is an Overlord party there's a Zealot party underneath the Overlord, just enjoying a little bit of shade. And I always find it interesting that the Overlord shade coming from... Where does it actually come from? That's what I want to know. But yes, all in all, we have got the Nexus coming down. The Overlord, not quite sure if it's going to be able to live the Mothership Core on its way out. State does believe in ZvP, and I like this when they talk to each other. It's always fun when they have a little bit of banter going on. Friendly banter, just about the Overlord, that may or may not survive. Will definitely survive now, but the 2 Zealots on their way over. The Mothership Core on its way as well. How many Zerglings are out? 8. 8 Zerglings will not be able to deal with 2 Zealots and the Mothership Core, but with Queen help, they just might be able to. But the Queens need to focus the Mothership Core, because that is the real threat. If the Queens go down and the Mothership Core is still alive, then the Mothership Core can just slowly chip away at everything because there's no anti-air early on. Third base also on its way for ZvP. Nice timing. Potentially a little bit early, but it's not a massive amount. Getting it down earlier isn't a huge issue, but all in all, that's just because he hasn't gone for that gas too soon. He does have enough. He should have enough gas soon to get out of speed, which he will need to hold off a little bit of aggression, but he doesn't want to rush it. 3 additional gateways coming down, so it could be some delayed 4-gate pressure following this up. We'll wait to see if we get a proxy pylon down. The Zerglings do need to be careful, though. It looks like the third base will be the target. This Queen is slightly isolated, and that's not what you want, because if a Queen goes down early on, that means hurt lava production, and therefore less drones or less units, neither of which are particularly favourable for a Zerg player. The eject does go down. The Zealots should be able to trap this Queen quite nicely, and with the Mothership Core as well, should do some very nice damage. But in come the Zerglings, but the Zealots are backed away. Mass recall going down, though. Clearly State happy with that damage he done, and does not want to lose any units at all for the time being. Speed now just getting started, gas still being mined. Meanwhile, 2 gas on its way down here for State as well, who's starting up a Stargate. So we got those 3 additional gateways, then the Stargate. What will that be for? he's got a couple of different options. He could just pump some Phoenix, clear out Overlords around the map, and more importantly as well, deter Mutalisk play that a lot of Proto players have problems with. Other options, he could go for an Oracle clearly, because Oracles can get some good harassment potential, but in the later stages of the game become slightly less effective, just due to the fact that ultimately they're not going to be able to do as much damage, and there should be more preparation for them. And finally, could just get some Void Rays out, because who doesn't like Void Rays? The answer, your opponent. Your opponent definitely does not like Void Rays. ZvP, happily just going around his business, getting out drones, getting out his lair, everything hitting the timings that he'd want. Also got the third gas and the Roach, second gas and the Roach one coming down. But the Phoenix doing a nice little runabout, just getting a good look and to scout everything out here, and that's what's so important. The sentries, the zealots also moving on their way. A pylon is positioned up at the top here, ready for the reinforcements. This third base about to take a lot of pain, but the Roach war done. We should see some Roaches in production shortly, but the gas is not that high at the moment, and not mining out of this second gas geyser either for the time being. Some Zerglings are behind though, gonna try and get a nice little surround here, catching the Protoss force while it is in the middle of the map, but good force fields for State at the moment means that he should be safe. He does not have enough energy for a mass recall though, and pretty much all of the force fields on these sentries being forced in the center of the map, and that's really what State wanted to achieve. He wanted to force those early so that when the push comes in he doesn't have to worry about them quite as much, and means that ultimately he could try and get a good surround. But more Roaches in production, more Zerglings in production. Behind this, the +1, the robotics facility, also the Forge, as well as some Phoenix in production. Just mean that State definitely does have a follow-up, as well as a pylon in a very nice position, an incredibly good position. Actually, force fields going down here, trapping the Roaches. There is a small gap there, big enough for a couple of Zerglings to go through, but more force fields are in position. Enough energy now for a mass recall, so this hatchery likely to just get focused, and State can then just recall straight out again, really not losing very much at all, but needs to be very careful. Mass recalls out earlier just due to how many units are there, does not want to take too many losses, and therefore ZvP is able to keep his third hatchery alive. That's really important for ZvP. If he'd lost that, he would have been in a very awkward position. But where are those Phoenix? That's what I want to know. They're all just sitting around here, not getting chrono boosted at the moment. The Immortal and also +1 are on their way though, so that is really where all of the upgrades are going. We've also got the Twilight Council, so State clearly just in favour of getting all of the tech, all of the different tech paths possibly imaginable. This pylon has not yet been scouted though. Should get spotted now by those Zerglings and should get taken out as well. Meanwhile, the Phoenix on their way over, anti-air not existent. There is a Spire just getting started, so the last thing ZvP really wants to see is Phoenix. Pretty much the best counter Protoss have for Mutalisk, as long as they're microed effectively. The Queen can get taken out, and with no other anti-air, that Queen can get taken out, a lot of drones can get taken out. All you can really do is pull back a couple of Queens, but that wouldn't necessarily be the best move. And with these, well, with these 4 Phoenix, quite a few drones could go down. Spore Call is getting started, but ideally what you want to try and focus are those Queens, because that hurts the production of the Zerg player, and if you hurt the production, then obviously you're going to be looking to be in quite a nice spot. The third base should have its Spore up just in time, but the Queen does need to pull back into the safety of that Spore, because otherwise it could run into some problems. Queen now getting lifted. There are 6 Phoenix on the field, 5 over with this group. That means that all of the Queens are now dead. ZvP really not going to be too happy about that, and is going to go for a bit of a counter-attack, but with a lot of sentries, a lot of Immortals should be okay. Also getting up some gateways up here and trying to secure a third base that ZvP is not yet aware of. The Phoenix still doing some nice damage, picking off a couple of Overlords here who are desperately trying to get back to the safety of the Spore Caller, but a good couple will go down. A Queen has also just popped. That can get lifted very, very quickly, out of range of the Spore Caller as well, just means that it will go down incredibly efficiently, and this is State harassing incredibly potently. Another Queen slightly out of position, and Overlord also out of position, more and more Phoenix coming in, and all while you're taking out Queens, guess what? That means that you're not going to be having the joy of Lava Injects, and if you don't have Lava Injects, you're not going to have too much fun. 12 Hydralisks now in production, in direct response to this, because of course going Muta, when you already know that your opponent has got 7 Phoenix out, that would be a pretty bold decision, but the Hydras, you have to be careful not to be coming in small groups, because they can get focused down incredibly quickly, just as we're going to see State do here. He's going to get 3, 4, maybe even more, 5, and all 6 of these Hydralisks are probably going to go down now. Gets the lift on that one as well. This is just dealing with the anti-air very, very cost effectively. As we can see, nearly 4 times more cost effective than his opponent, getting some more lifts up on these Hydras as they come out. Finally a Phoenix goes down, but where one goes down, more have returned. So this is just really nice play at the moment. There are 2 Spore Callers here, therefore State not going to go for it. His aim here is to be as cost effective as he can. And he's doing a really nice job of that. An Overlord going down as well here now. And as we can see, the Zerglings just running around, just following the Phoenix, because they can't jump. If Zerglings could jump and attack air units, it would be scary. and every single Zerg player would pretty much just get a lot of Zerglings out and get double upgrades all the way. Muscular Augment's also on its way down just to try and deal with these Phoenix who are so mobile, able to dash between the bases very efficiently, and as such this is just really allowing State to be everywhere at once. This Queen yet again out of position and out of the safety of that Spore Crawler and will go down, and the amount of time, the amount of lava injects that haven't happened is just crazy for ZvP, and that is why the supply count is 30 ahead for State at the moment, because he's just been pumping units behind this. The worker count is also 70 to 69 in State's favour. Hasn't started actually mining from these gas yet, which is something that he does need to do. But tech-wise, it's Ling, Hydra with a couple of Roaches up against a Colossus and a pretty nice Sentry Force as well. So a couple more Colossi would be really good, and they are joining the army. The Hydras are there, so he does need to be a little bit careful. A good couple of Forces will trap quite a large chunk of ZvP's army there, and this is now State looking to be really solid. He's moving forward. He's played this perfectly. He's expanded while harassing and building up an army. His upgrades are looking good as well. 2-0 against 1-0 for ZvP. This is really a dangerous push here. A 40 supply advantage is there for the Protoss players. Some Corruptors coming out, just trying to deal with these Phoenix that have just been so posted all the way through. The two Colossi are there, trying to deal with as much of the army as possible. Some Time Warps going down just to try to stop these Hydras from getting away. Phoenix doing their best against the Corruptors, but of course they only do bonus damage versus life, but the Immortals are still out, and there's the GG. ZvP realises that his opponent played spectacularly and he will not be able to come back from that, but State really playing that solidly, nothing cheesy about his play there, just really solid harassment, expanding, fundamentals of the game executed very nicely, so congratulations to him. If you enjoyed the cast, make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment and subscribe, and I'll see each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new video. Thanks for watching, I'm Madals, catch you soon.